Welcome to the 2017 and a bit of 2018 predictions for the world. This is Darshini in spirit, and this year we have condensed it quite a bit, not so much condensed but shortened it. A lot of people weren't really interested in certain weather predictions and a few other things, but be warned, there's going to be quite a bit of heavy weather, especially in the Americas, and in certain parts of Europe. Flooding again, I'm afraid. So let's just launch in here, okay? And we are going to touch a bit on America first. I'm just going to my notes. And America, we are going to, I'm afraid, increase our, the terrorist action. But it won't happen until May. Now, May is actually, it's like a prelude in a way of what's to come. These are single act terrorisms. They're not even, all of them are associated actually with the terrorists of ISIS, any others. Unfortunately, it's become more widespread. What I'm doing here is giving you a general, and we are going, well, just expect lone wolf attacks, and I'm afraid more school shootings. I'm sorry, but that is going to happen, as I've predicted all these years. And they're mostly kind of self-designated suicides by teens, from even as young as 12 I'm seeing upwards, and I call teenagers up to 28, to be honest. They're still developing. What we are going to see is after the president-elect gets actually voted in, you're going to see, and that's when I'm seeing it really ramp up in May, the increase of terrorist actions. And these are even local people in America I'm talking about, and even some in Midwest that are very dissatisfied. Not Washington State, but Washington DC, that I'm seeing terrorist action in the way of rebellion against what was promised in the elections and what is not obviously happening. The big kind of breakthrough press release information here is that on May 15th, or around about May 15th next year, it's when it's really, something's going to be revealed about the then administration, and more so actually focusing on Trump himself, that there's going to be a revelation that's not going to be good for him, and he can't talk himself out of it. It's going to be quite shocking in the way of confirmations on certain levels, but I'm not going to say too much about it. But it's going to lead to the rebellions and the riots and protests that I'm seeing around the country. That's going to build up to quite a different momentum, where people are really angry. Even his own followers, to a certain extent, are joining those other ranks. And this is all what I'm seeing. Hopefully it doesn't happen. There's going to be a smooth transition, but I'm afraid I've been seeing this for quite a while. So all I'm telling you is keep aware regarding the terrorists. There's Texas that's going to be affected. There's one in Indiana, and these are all lone wolf things, and that's more associated with ISIS and Taliban. There's going to be a lot of terrorist action in London, I'm afraid. Paris again, but on the outskirts. Belgium is going to experience like 3 to 4, and these are in marketplaces, so please be careful. There are other countries that are going to experience more violent, not even retaliations, but it's as if they've got a new member that's just been elected. He's not exactly the head of the Taliban, but it seems he's very egocentric and ego-driven, and he is pushing for trying to get the cells, and these are more cells than actual huge, how can I say this, huge movements, you know, a whole organization. In a way it's got the backing, but it is really the individuals and a cell of 3 to as much as 12 sometimes, and that's more in Europe, in France and Belgium and some of those countries there, I'm afraid. But here in America it's more 2 or 3 individuals working on small cells. The FBI has a good network going, but it's going to get worse, I'm afraid, for the next few years, and that's why I brought in 2018 as well. But you're going to be more aware of a different mentality of fear, and that is what I always advocate. I teach over 100 classes, obviously I do readings and stuff, but it's really in most of the classes, and one called Face Your Fears class, and that is one of the most brutal classes you go through. But in that fear class I always try and teach people, the more you fear something, the more it'll happen. So please, please be careful that you don't feed into your own fears, okay? You have no control over certain situations, and you can only control yourself to a certain amount, a certain percentage, okay? And the more you try and control something, the less control you have over it. And that's in the book that I've got, and that is in the anatomy of fear, actually, okay? As part of that. I will try and put that out. I'm sorry, but this year has been horrendous. We'll go into some of the signs that a lot of people unfortunately have been going through and experiencing. So let's get back into the general predictions. So it's got a lot more protests, a lot more people, and I'm sorry to say, but they're cowards, okay? And these are people who are saying one thing to their friends and family, but doing a lot online, where they're really getting more instigating other people to work against either the government or peace, okay? And that is a fear of where there's segregation, and there's a fear of people who are different colors. I'm just brown, but of anybody who isn't of their ilk, put it that way. It's really sad that we're going back about 40 to 50 years now. In the next 4 years to 5 years, we're going to be in that cycle, because once it's started, it's like a bowling ball. Once you throw it down, it's hard to stop it. So I'm really hopefully advocating to anybody who's really bothering to listen this far, please be in control of it as much as you can, of your own awareness, that don't let the media or tweeting rather, and they are twitters, to be honest, on certain levels, not all. I'm talking about the people who are irresponsibly using media to propagate fear. So don't be manipulated, and it's been proved that a lot of those tweets and false media have had a devastation, not only about elections, I'm talking about other things as well. So please be responsible. Don't believe everything you see or hear. Do your own investigation and make sure it's correct before getting all angry, okay? That's only my personal plea here. Peace will be in the cells where you feel confident with, okay? So we're also going to see a lot of protests in India. And India is going through a change as well. And it's not only a technological change, but it's really about governmental, and as if they're going through a huge growth spurt, even though they are, you know, technology in certain areas are way ahead of quite a few countries in the world. But it's really reflecting in the government that they have to come in line and not be so outdated. and you'll see that around about August, a lot of protests and a lot of changes with the government. China, I'm afraid, is going to go through huge changes, and I'm seeing about June, there's going to be, it may take until September, but there's going to be huge protests, which the government will try and squash, but quite frankly, there is going to be a regime change there too. Germany, these are only the highlights. Germany is going to have quite a devastation. There is going to be changes there in the government. There's no confidence. The money is going to be affected, the economy. There's a lot of protests, which I said last year. This year it's going to increase to a level where it may not be the best solution, I'm afraid, but within 2 years they should be settling down. But quite frankly, they're losing their edge on the economy of being a premier regarding economy and holding that economy of Europe together. There will be 2 more countries exiting other than the BRITEX, which I did say last year, and I said there's going to be a huge devastation in Europe at the end of June, July, and I didn't realize it was the BRITEX, and that's why it just flattened a lot of economies there. The next 2, I will not say at the moment who is exiting, but 2 are going to exit. It won't have such a devastating effect as England did, but you will see that there's going to be a lot of trouble there, and there will be waves felt. And I did mention Greece is going to be, I'm just putting this in, but it's also covered in another part of the video here, is going to go through several earthquakes, which will trigger about another month or 2 later Italy, and more devastation in the capital of Rome. And all around the sea, there is going to be a slight tsunami, which is going to have an inundation into Italy, I'm afraid, so be warned. It's about 10 to 15, 20 feet waves, but they're going to be not huge devastating, but obviously to the coastline. So we're coming back to England, and there is flooding. I did mention that again. All these years I've been saying, unfortunately, the Thames will go over, not as bad as it did last few years, but it will flood. But mostly in South London, not up towards its other extreme. And also Kate, who will be Queen someday. It's a bit of sad news that she will be pregnant, but she doesn't carry the baby to full term. It's a girl. Will not be born. It's one of those things, I'm afraid, but I do see within 2 years she'll have another boy. And it's lessons that I'm afraid whether you believe it or not, they choose not to be here. But you will see that the second child, the girl, is going to be very, very strong, by the way, quite dominant, even more so than the first child. So those things, I'm afraid, will happen this coming year in 2017. Okay, what else have we got? And I'm just going to go to another one. Oh yeah, South Korea. Let me just put that. South Korea is going to expand. Yeah, South Korea is going to be really feeling more threatened. Actually, the whole world will be threatened, because North Korea, he's getting into more of a despotic mood and manner. The dictator there, and expect to have about 3. There are 17 that I see, but 3 exposures that he will be testing nuclear bombs out there. So he's getting primed, but it's a threat, and he's making kind of false bravado against America and a few other countries, obviously South Korea, but I don't believe, and I don't see that he's going to do anything devastating to South Korea, because it will have a backfall on him in that country. In other words, any kind of radiation. So that's not to be worried, but it is to be worried that he is getting more intense and more egocentric regarding him. What I do see that he is even getting, as if he's got some kind of disease mentally, that he's getting very paranoid. Even so that he's even putting to death a lot of his close administration and replacing quickly if they don't agree with him. So it's a very dangerous situation that I believe America has been watching since last November, but they will be watching closer. Okay, let's see now. I'm just looking at everything. I've done individual countries following this video quickly, but also I have to put this in because I've been seeing that on a personal level through readings, that I always go backwards, and I'm seeing that people are very suicidal, more suicidal than the last 2 years even, where they do not even want to live even though they have children, that they are at their wits' end. If they could get into a car and drive and not ever look back, they'd do it. They're finding hopelessness, fruitlessness. I mean, as if nothing is happy. They're in horrible, deep depressions. For those who really want, not exactly an answer, but some kind of help, go to the Candle lesson or email me, and I'll send it to you. But the book that I'm doing is Bada Bing Bang Boom, which I know I keep on saying every year I'm putting it out, but this year has been devastating too to me. And you'll see that people are going through not only rough times, but it's as if it's medical issues. Some are going through legal issues, but problems, and I always ask this in all the lectures I do, how many people have been going through devastating times that even medical problems that they even didn't think it even would ever happen to them, and it's happening. So what I'm telling you, it's all part of this phase that we're going through, this energy change. And I'm afraid, hopefully the books that I'm putting out, especially that one I mentioned, not the Epoch Succession, that's a general book, but the other book has a lot of exercises where it'll ask you to answer certain questions, but it'll give you exercises with an accompanying DVD that you will, I'll talk you through, which is part of my classes basically, and that you will see that you are the one in control, where you have to fill out truthfully, hopefully, all the questions that are asked in the exercises. Are you, those people out there, are you suffering from, or suffering, it's like suffering, that you're going into very vast, quick tempers, that you're wanting to be more of a hermit and alone, that you don't want to be around people, friends and family, you're changing that, and you're evicting people like that, even friends and family, that you are seeing people for who they really are, and you're not liking what you see, so you become more of a hermit and introverted, but not introverted in the way of not even antisocial, just you choose to be quiet, that you are getting so sleepy some days that you want to, during the day especially, crawl underneath your desk and go to sleep instead of work. There are 250 signs that you're trying to clear the closets out, that you're clearing things that you were always wondering, what in heaven's name were you thinking when you bought it? Also, that you're wanting a simpler life. You want to simplify everything in your life. Relationship changes, that's going to be bigger this year than any other year, that you're deciding either to stay with that person or to move on and find what you really need within yourself. The people who are listening to this, as far as this stage today, because a lot just listen for sensationalism. I'm not going to do that. but for those people who are still here listening to me, please know that you're going to be okay. It's just a change, but this book will have 250 or so signs, symptoms I call them, where you can tick it off, and so you're doing a self-evaluation of yourself and deciding what is true. And all I'm trying to do is to help you and enhance your own intuition. And this is very, very important, because this is where we're going. We're going back to trusting our intuition and who we are and who we can be. So basically, please let me know if that's of interest to you. I'll send you the candle lesson if you need, or you can look it up on the YouTube, it's there. And really that's it so far. I made it very short and sweet since people weren't really interested too much with everything, but on my previous predictions. But you are going to see quite a few countries that are going to experience a lot more terrorism, more in Europe, surprisingly, than and Australia will have, I'm afraid. There's going to be a surge around about July of terrorist actions there. And in the, where is this? Not in Nigeria, but more all in the African countries, Congo. There's going to be a few regime changes there too, where they're going to be overthrowing governments. I'm afraid that means another war. But one will be pretty peaceful. The others will be a bit more violent. I'm afraid there are two that are going to be kind of lengthy and drawn out. One will take over 2 years. And I'm sorry, but this is all what I see. There are good things coming where people are going to know what they can trust and who they can trust, and what, more importantly, they can do for themselves. So I'll leave you with this thought that don't start worrying about the world. Stop not even worrying about yourself, but making sure your nest is feathered. In other words, you have enough money just to even get through the day if you need to just get from 1 month to the next, that you concentrate on the microcosm of yourself, not the whole entity. It'll follow. Do what you can to protect your assets, small or large, and be good. I'm not covering gold or silver. I've already covered it on a previous video, and maybe I'll do a bit more later on that. But other than that, I really wish you all luck. Happy holidays, and safe ones with your family. But no, you're not being selfish when you start thinking it's all about you. Just know that if you don't find happiness, how do you expect your children or anybody around you to find happiness? And it's your quest now to find that. And I truly wish you luck, and you'll find the right information that will come to you. Blessings to all of you. Thank you for joining me. This is Darshini in spirit for the 2017 predictions. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye. Hello everybody, and we are on the 2017 predictions. We may overlap into 2018 a bit, we'll see. So basically what we're going to do is to look at a few things here, and we're going to, on this video, be on America only, and the rest will be a separate video for the world. I mean, obviously Canada, Mexico, or Europe, South Asia, and everything else. So we're concentrating on America here, and what I'm going to give is some predictions, which I'm not reviewing what I did last year, this year rather, had come true. That's up to you to decide. I didn't do the research as I did before, because I don't think people wanted that. So we're just on launching in forward. So as I said earlier this year, we are going to have snow, but anyway, it's already coming in. And it's going to be, even though there's more weather coming, extreme weather coming in, into the 3/4 of America, there's a brief respite round about Christmas, I see, and around about the 22nd, 23rd, and then by the 28th it comes in strong again, where you're getting another system of heavier snowfall, equivalent to heavier, and it's more as equivalent here, but it's heavier in these areas over here. So snowfall. And what we're going to see is that this is actually nothing to what February, and really it's the tip of last day of January, 30th to 31st, last days, but February is going to be pretty brutal, I'm sorry to say. What you're going to see is snowfalls of at least 10 to even 12 feet. I hate to say this, from, again, all of this area here up there. So it's all to do with this kind of lopsided triangle here where you're getting the heavier snowfalls. But this concentration, again, from here all the way through, round about here, into area, and I'll just go in a bit here. I'm going in on Google. Hello. And we'll go in a bit. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, I'm sorry. So anyway, Washington, it's really going to hit Boston again, I'm sorry to say, the lakes, Michigan, but it's really going to be pretty concentrated in this section here where it's really heavy. Canada is going to actually be worse than America with the snowfall and the freezing rain. And I do see a lot of rain that's really, as I said, freezing. It's not going to be just regular rain, and this is a bit of a deadly combination where it's actually getting even colder, record, again, here we go, record colder weather. So be warned that you're going to have some horrible blizzards in this area. And it's really, again, it's as if something colder is coming in from here to this area and all of this area as well. So it's kind of blowing through all the lakes and here, and it's hitting in this concentration, New York and everything. And there's some pretty brutal blizzards coming in. And then February, you're going to get 2 blizzards, one after the other in February, early February, 2nd through about the 3rd and 4th, and then another one from about the 7th, 8th, really 7th night to the 8th to the 10th. And then it lays off for a while. And I hate to say a lot of accidents and other things going on, but associated with weather. But then you're going to get a lot of rainfall, and not massive, but it's unusual rainfall for that time of the year. And that's going to hit from all the way here, kind of the tip of Northern California, right through into these states. So it's like a bubble, and Texas included. I'm afraid, I know I predicted horrible flooding in Texas. Unfortunately, that did come true. All of this area, and kind of into the tips of the Carolinas in there too. So it's going to be a heavier rainfall, but it's more or less like in a V here and coming up there. So expect that. And then snow will be prevalent and still continue right through around about May 31st, maybe June 3rd being the last real snowfall, but up in the areas here in the high elevations. But now, even though we're in a La Nina year, it's kind of a softer La Nina, but we are going to getting far more rain. You're going to see that in June, July, again, Texas is going to get hit, Kansas, Nebraska, Colorado, all of the mid-states are going to get hit pretty badly. And again, it'll be a kind of V this time into that shape, up to Oregon. And we will have experienced a bit more rainfall, unusual rainfall in round about mid-January through spots where we're getting in more rain in California than usual, what it has been, and in those months. And it'll rain kind of consistent, like, you know, every 1 to 2 weeks, but it won't be heavy. It'll be 1-2 inches. There would be a blast around about end of April into May, early May, and May is going to be quite rainy as well, which I'm sure a lot of people here in California will be happy to hear. but that system really hits the whole. It's like a hurricane maybe hitting, because I'm seeing a huge amount of rainfall from here. This is where the hurricane will be coming in from, this area, and it really does hit Mexico, Arizona, New Mexico, a tip, Colorado. So it's really this area that's going to get hit, Nevada, with a heavier downpour of rain. That's about mid-June, July. Tornadoes, and again, I'm not going to concentrate too much. Not too many people want to hear about the weather. And anyway, tornadoes. This season is going to really, even though it's meant to kind of, I don't know really, I'm not a meteorologist as I always tell you, but it is meant to go low in February, but you'll see some sporadic activity, and it's more here, which I'm seeing, which is very unusual, I think, anyway, but it's really about round about here, and that you will see that the corridor is now, it's more or less, as I said, and I've always said this for I don't know how many years now, it has moved. The corridor was meant to be here to there regarding tornadoes, but now it has been moving far more towards the east coast, and we're going to see far more tornadoes in this area, even in unusual ones in, Oregon and California, Nevada as well. I'm seeing one roundabout near downtown Las Vegas. It's an F1, maybe touching F2, but it is kind of touching in the outskirts, so beware of that. Colorado, just the tips, that's going to get hit, but again, I'm afraid South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, all of those are going to get, Wyoming will be hit. They're coming in more and more in larger clusters, as they have, and I've been saying that for how many years. These clusters are kind of mega clusters now coming in, and they're going to be coming in anything from 5, which is very low, but to 17 to even as much as maybe 80. Now 80 I'm seeing around about July. It's going to be, again, high hot weather. There are a few records breaking, but not as much as the last few years, but there will be high heat records. Now that combined with some arid land is going to make for some nasty tornadoes, and it's mainly concentrating in the Midwest here, but I am seeing a belt about here that's going to be hit. There are going to be about nearly like 80 tornadoes. I said 79, which is very unusual, I know, but as I said, August, and it's going to kind of sweep through and make a real horrible leg. It's anything from, it doesn't really reach F5, any of them, but they're mainly F1 through F3, say F4s. There's 1 to 2 F4s in that whole thing, and it's around about here in Nebraska, Kansas. We are going to see far more tornadoes in this area too, in Oklahoma and in Texas, even to the point where it kind of swings in Houston and a few other areas in here, and through that area. So you'll see the sporadic little ones coming in, even in Florida. I think I did say that's unusual to see it, but we did see a tornado there, as I said last year. So there are going to be a few unusual, again, weather systems coming in, and that's basically it. I'm not going to cover too much. There's hurricane level, which I'm just going to refresh the page here, see if this works. Is hello. So doesn't want to talk to me now. Okay, we'll do the hurricanes in a second, but hopefully that will help in a minute for all of you. Hi, back again. And this is the USGS map, and it is regarding, obviously, earthquakes here. But before we get to the earthquakes, and this is just the current map as of today, which is at the 9th of December at 11:34 a.m. California time. But basically what I'd like to do is to really look at hurricanes. And hurricanes, I'm seeing there are going to be two significant ones. Let's just move over here a bit. And these ones are going to come in on the west coast again. We're going to get, I told you we're going to see more. And they're going to come in really as if it's curving from, starting down here, and it curves inland into Mexico again, Guadalajara, and into the northern peninsula there, southern peninsula, sorry, and hitting, really brushing and going off here. There's some side effects to San Diego, which is rain, which is good, but it comes out like that. And it's not a, it's really a kind of a medium one. It's near 3, it's not anything, you know, H1 or, you know, around about 3. So basically, the other one is coming in from here, and that's the one that I'm seeing that really brings a kind of a down, hits where the earlier, where I said there's going to be some rain because of that, and it's going to hit through and have a good span. That's like a 4, Hurricane 4, F4, no, I don't know if it's F4, but anyway, some on a 4 level. So that's going to really hit mostly Mexico City and things like that, and the outer rims there, and then hitting into Phoenix. A lot of rain there I'm seeing. Las Vegas. They seem to be going next year, around about July, having more rain anyway there. Flooding, I'm afraid. There's going to be floods in Phoenix, but far more sandstorms that they're going to see, by the way. This system, then on the right, and there are some other ones coming in that's really going to brush Hawaii but not really hit it, so it'll be about here and then kind of peter out. Regarding the East Coast, where sad, all of those earthquakes, but anyway, we're coming in, and we're going to see about as many as 17 hurricanes. Now, all of them are going to be significant. They'll mostly peter out. They're coming in from the Caribbean seas, coming in here, going through, and not exactly hitting Miami. They'll brush it like the one did this year, but it will hit on a level 2 into Charlotte, you know, through, not Charlotte, but to South Carolina there, Northern Carolina. So really it's something that Georgia, it'll hit, brush into Northern Carolina before it peters out and comes out, back out. So it's really going to be moving round here and then brushing and then coming and going down. So it could go up to even a 4, a level 4. There's one that's coming in that looks as if it's going to hit directly into the Florida Peninsula, but it actually, and it looks as if it's very, very strong, but it starts petering out, but it brushes Nassau and goes through to Miami around about late July, August, and then comes in here into the Gulf, and kind of gains a bit of momentum again, and then has a bit of a mess in New Orleans. Okay, so be careful. There's one other significant one that's coming again from down below, comes through the peninsula here, and then more or less a bit stormy here with giving a lot of rain and flooding in Louisiana, Texas, and not San Antonio, but Houston area, and so be careful there. And it looks like a storm in a teacup, but there is a potential for a level 4 coming in, where it kind of peters. It doesn't look as if it's a tropical storm, and then it starts gaining momentum. A 2, then it comes into a 3, goes down, but it really is, and it hits here into this area, not Louisiana, the tips of Louisiana, New Orleans, and into the bottom half of Texas and Mexico. And that kind of causes a bit of chaos, flooding, low-level flooding, and everything else, even to the point where you're getting even erosion of shores here in Florida. Okay, so basically, I know that's quite a bit of harsh news, but I see the most of them. There's one that's coming in from here, and it really, they're all coming in obviously from these seas over there, so it's coming in, brushes Bermuda, there's one, there's another one coming here, that comes in more or less, it looks as if it's heading right to the Carolinas, but it brushes the Carolinas and goes into towards New York City, Staten Island, things like that, and that's a two, and then it kind of really, it just circles it and goes up to even as far as up to Boston before it peters out and goes down. Okay, so back to earthquakes here. As you know, you might have known that as of this date, yesterday was a 6.5 here in California, and it was 10 miles down, and these earthquakes are going to increase, as I said before last year, that the earthquakes in Oklahoma are going to be moving far more northward into Kansas than they have been. I haven't got a map of that. I told you this one's going to be quick, not quick and dirty, but quick and fast. But this is what, let's see if we can do all magnitudes. It's just one day. That's just one day. And really, and this is just really, it's 30 days worth of magnitude 2.5 and above, okay? So as you can see, it's just in 30 days, but it is moving, has been moving far more into Kansas, I'm afraid. That's going to be, and I said, and I believe there was a 5.4, what I said last year, there's going to be another 5.8 with following clusters afterwards, and even as much as a 6.2, but it's more in this portion here, around about here in Oklahoma. It'll be quite bad because it's only about 3 to 5 miles down, so it will have lasting effects, that one, I'm afraid. But it's just a prelude, okay? You're going to constantly have more and more earthquakes, I'm sorry to say. And you'll see far more, not huge clusters, but as you can see, as I said, it's always, I always call it an H, because it's always California, mid-states, and then coming down here. But you will be seeing far more Virginia mountains, things like that, coming in here. And as you can see, that's just a few there too. But you will see sporadic ones. There will be about a 3.3, maybe a 3.5 in New York, near New York, not downtown, but just on the outskirts of New York, to expect that in the summer. California, I'm afraid we're going to see far more. Nevada, that one is at 3.2, Eureka, but we will be seeing far more in Nevada, but it's really from the fault from California. And so these are, let's just go into California quickly. All magnitudes, doesn't really show too much. It's actually been pretty quiet to what California can be. There will be some, just quickly into Mexico, shouldn't really, but anyway, it's going to affect San Diego and the fault here. Here, Baja, California, you're going to see a few more 6s, 6.6 in there. We'll go into the world's earthquakes later in the other video. But Salton Sea, when they said they expected a huge one, I did tell people, I didn't put it on video, but on a private level, that there wasn't going to be a large earthquake, not the one that they're thinking of. That's not yet, okay? So again, it'll be on the fault. You'll see far more of that activity in there. And let's see, 30 days significant. That's that one. And as you can see, that's 7 days, all magnitudes. Really, it's just going to keep on going, as I'd said, going to increase. Santa Monica, all of that, I've always been telling you, Long Beach, mostly down here near the fault lines, but there's a fault line in Long Beach too. Okay, I'm just touching on that one. If anybody's interested, let me know, but quite frankly, we'll talk about that another time. All right? And we're going to move on to other stories and predictions. Hi, this is the earthquake predictions for the world, and we'll go back over here. I'm not going to really go into too much again because a lot of people, again, don't seem to be interested in it. So what I'm going to touch on here is far more of a, let's zoom out a bit more. The earthquakes that are significant here, this one is 6.0. In Alaska, and I did say that these are going to increase and you'll see far more higher activity, and I've been saying that for the last 2 years, that you'll be seeing far more 8s and 9s, high 7s, 8s and 9s, and they have been happening. You can go and check your facts on that. I'm not going to be giving all that information these days. So this is just 7 days, by the way. But what I will do is, let's see, that's 30 days, magnitude 4.5 R. So we've got some quite significant ones here, and even, let's see, Greece is what I told you about, Rome is what I told you about. We'll go into there in a minute. Australia does have earthquakes, but it's separate. USGS doesn't cover it, I don't know why, nor Europe. But let's just go into all this significance, as you can see, and I did say that all the tectonic plates are moving and they're being far more active. The activity is high here. It's a 6.9 in Solomon Islands. It's been pretty darn active all year, and you're going to be seeing far more activity like that in all of these straits. Fiji, Vanuatu, there's going to be a huge 7.7, 7.2 here. Papua New Guinea, there'll be far more on this fault line, and really obviously Solomon Islands, unfortunately they'll be large, but PNG, they will have far more. Fiji will actually have far more than even Vanuatu, Solomon Islands. And here in New Zealand, I'd always said that they'll be getting hit quite largely, and unfortunately this is a cluster from a large one too, that they were hit earlier this year. So I think that was a 7.8. So as I said, it's coming into really high ones, unfortunately. And you will see far more 8s, 7s and 8s in the world. And I'm afraid that's the sad thing about it, that there's one tsunami that really does, there's going to be, and I'm just going into Japan here, and again, this was a 6.1, but they've been hit with quite a few large ones too this year, which is what I told you. Again, it's going to be all over Honshu and things like that here. You're going to see maybe a 7.2, maybe even a 7.8 in Japan. I'm sorry to say that is in turn going to cause a tsunami. The Earth's going to move about 2 feet or so, but again, it's another adjustment, and it will hit, from Portland all the way down here, a bit of a tsunami, but not a huge significant one, not as big as the one that was a few years back. But you're going to see far more. China is going to have a bit more activity, but in the mountains here. Not so much Thailand. You're going to see far more here in this fault and that one in India, Himalayan mountains. I'm afraid that came true. Afghanistan, there's going to be far more, like 7.2s, 7.7, and Turkmenistan, and all of those areas will have far more larger earthquakes. That one's only a 5.1. So you're going to see far more activity, but it will be after July next year. Turkey, it will have far more. Greece, I'm afraid, is going to have at least a 6.8, and it's going to be pretty low levels, so that's not going to be good. I talked about volcanoes that were going to get active, and unfortunately they did. I don't think anybody's interested, but it depends. If you can send emails to me if you want, requesting it. It depends on how many requests I get. I'll do another video on it. But I hate to say it, I did say Rome was going to go, and I'm afraid it did. There's going to be another one, a 6.5, around about 5 to 7 miles, so that's going to be significant as well. Far more earthquakes in here you're going to see, not huge, but they're going to be sporadic throughout, like here, that's just a small one, 4.6, throughout Africa. Now, we're going to go to Europe because they don't do it on this one, but I'll change over. And same with Canada, I'll change over there later. But that's just for the earthquakes for most of Europe. I'm going to continue as I bring up the other maps. Hi, this is Europe, their model, and you're going to see it's here again in Rome Italy and things like that. It's 4.0, which, oops, shouldn't have done that. Anyway, you're going to see more activity there. I will bring it in a bit, sorry. So you will see more activity here in this area. Even in Spain there's going to be few, some in France, and there will be in the tip of Ireland and round about here in England, which is kind of unusual, but you're going to see far more. And needless to say, there's going to be far more there too. I don't know if I could bring that in. Last 2 weeks. That was 24 hours worth of earthquakes. And again, here in all of these countries, you're going to see France and all the others coming in. And far more activity here. Africa on the tip, because that's really all to do with these faults. So you're going to see far more in all of this area. Okay? I'm not going to spend too much time, and actually far more up north here too. So expect some larger earthquakes in the sea here as well. All right? I'm going to go quickly back to out a bit here, but you will see that, this is what I'm talking about. It's far more active in the Indian Ocean. You'll see some here. That's going to kind of be a counter to this situation, all of these earthquakes. So you're going to see far more larger 6s, 4s to 6s coming in from here. As you can see, these ones are 5s. So 4 to 6, as I said, is going to be significant around here in this area and all through all of these fault lines. Okay, sorry to say, and that's off Oregon's coast. That's the California one. So we're just going to quickly go to. Just bear with me, and we're going to go to, not Europe, let's go to Australia, just quickly, and this is Australia's earthquakes. And it's over 7 days, but let's go to the last 30. And they touch on a bit more. Oh, let's go. As you can see, it's quite different. Fill in a minute. And here was what I was talking about, that you've got a lot of earthquakes. How many years ago they were laughing at me because I said there were earthquakes in Australia and going to be, and they've been significant since, I'm afraid. So these are not little minor ones, but they're still, there's 3.7, 3s. Anyway, they're going to be all on this coast, some in here, but really mostly concentrated in this triangle and that edge of Australia. Okay? Since we're in this map, I'm going to just touch on something about, I'm going to draw out a bit more here. And there are going to be, as I said last year, the year before, when I've been predicting typhoons, which is the equivalent to hurricanes, they're typhoons. There's going to be a probable 3, but definitely 2 really devastating typhoons hitting Asia. And it's going to hit round about here in this area here, not touching Japan as much, but it's really in these islands here. And they're pretty significant. There's one more causing flooding in India and Sri Lanka, and this and Bangladesh, I'm afraid, which seems to be low level because I'm seeing more massive flooding there in India, in that little peninsula there, that area. So that's going to be one. The other one's going to be kind of in this area. And the other, the probable third, you're going to have about 5 typhoons that are significant, but those 2.5, maybe 3, it's touching on a really 5, level 5, but that one's going to be pretty bad, but not maybe as bad as the other 2 that are coming in. All right, and that's one in August, one maybe in June. That's the maybe one, but June, August, not even September, but the late August, July, end of July, August. Okay, so that's that level. And Canada, we'll just go quickly. Canada. And excuse me. And we'll hopefully get a map here. There we go. So Canada, I know we've got quite a few people listening in Canada, and the earthquakes here have concentrated again on the outskirts. Their weather is being pretty horrible. I hate to say it this year. It's got that Siberian Express again, but and far more brutal than it was last year and the year before. Really, it was the year before. But first of all, let's go to earthquakes here. So these are going to continue, I'm afraid. These are 4s, not 5s. You're going to get about a 6.5, a few of them around this area here. That one is just a 4. But this one is a 3. But round about Toronto too, you're going to see some. Round about the lakes was what I always said. That would be happening. All of these will be a bit more active, but later on in the year, June, July, August, then they'll be far more active. You'll see a few significant ones, even as a 7.2 up north. Don't know why that's going on. But anyway, that's going to be in this area. But maybe a 6.9, maybe a 7.2, round about this area here. Okay. Now the weather. I'm afraid this horrible icy weather, this ice rain as well, is that I talked about for the American video, is going to be prevalent here, and it's really more or less crushing most of the whole of Canada, I hate to say it, and it's swooping down from here that I see. And again, you might like to listen to the American weather for the exact times, but I do see February as being really, really nasty as well as America. And snowdrifts, you're going to get far more snow, and that freezing rain, which is going to be packed ice in the end. So please, I'm really imploring you that if you know of anybody who's elderly, and God, I hope they're not homeless people, but you need to make sure they're protected and well supplied, at least 2 to 3 weeks of food, even if it's just canned food. Make sure that you know radios that are on batteries, that you know what the weather's going to be. But your bad weather is really, it's already started, but as I said, around about mid-January, the 17th of January, it'll continue. The bad storms are going to be in February, the beginning of February, and it's going to more or less continue until the brutal weather, that is, until about into mid-April, March, April. The lakes here are going to freeze badly, in Michigan, stuff like that, all of those, and into obviously Canada, they're going to freeze pretty solidly. So you're going to have far more brutal, it's colder weather. It's like, I hate to say, like a wet snow rain, like England's Channel, which is, it just cuts right through you. Okay, so that's it for the weather / anything else that's going on. I'm going back just quickly to England, and in England I'm actually seeing that it is, let me just go to England, sorry. Let me just, so in England it's going to be far more flooding again. Ireland too. We're going to see a lot more floods in Ireland. These mega waves, these weird strange waves that I've been predicting, king waves, they're going to hit here, even as far as into Belgium as well. And flooding, as I always say, I'm afraid I'm being correct, there's flooding right through, again, the centre of England, a lot in the Thames, and through these areas, even as near into Wales, which is surprising. So a lot of rain. So we've got Ireland, Dublin, all of that's Belfast. There's more weather, hard rain in these areas. How can I say, east coast of Ireland, and some really weird king waves off the coast south west of Ireland as well, which are these weird king waves again coming in. All right, France, it's really, I see a lot of spoiled grape crops and crops in Madrid, you know, throughout Spain as well, and it's all over here throughout. We've got even though there's rain, I see also desert areas where you're getting really arid, how can I see, not arid weather, but arid land, where they're really fighting for water, I'm afraid, in those areas. Okay, I'm going to stop here briefly, and then I'm going to really talk about, at this point, let me go through some politics. Okay, well, politics and what's going on. So, okay, let me just get my notes. And, sorry, just trying to get a few things coordinated here. All right, so, excuse me. Okay, so what I'm seeing is that Germany is going to go through a pretty violent time in the way of, it's a change of leadership. So I'm sorry, but I don't see the current regime being there. There's a lot of pressure. What I'm seeing is from Russia, which I can't believe, but anyway, that's very significant. And then they're going to get somebody who's, I'm not going to say, but it's going to be kind of middle of the road, but really not very hard-lined or significant, okay? And it's something that's not going, it's going to be in flux. Your country's going to be in flux for another 1.5 to 2 years. I'm afraid just like America, but America's worse in that situation. I'm seeing that there are some suicide bombers coming in Belgium, France, you know, what I said last year too, and that is that this whole thing, Paris, there's one more attack, there's other in certain areas, a few more in England, but it's more in London Central, one in Scotland as well, but Italy as well, I'm afraid too. So there are going to be lone wolf attacks, and it's not even lone wolves, it's like cells, 2 to 3 that I see that are hitting. Luxembourg, there's one. So all of these are going to come in, I'm afraid. So just be aware of your surroundings. If your intuition tells you not to go there, don't make an excuse and just get out, okay? There's going to be a lot of different political upheavals going through most of, it's like a virus, all kinds of, all kinds of weird situations in the political arena going around, reverberating around the world, to be honest. In definitely there's some kind of mini wars or overthrows in Africa in certain countries, but there's also rebellion and massive outcries from several sectors other than the young, where they're having protests all over the place. So this is in Canada, you name it, in Australia, everywhere there is some kind of significant surge against the status quo. Okay?